Hi, this is Morning Immersion. Just wanted to say that this video is a compilation of clips from a stream I did with Horde Desert a while back where essentially I was just asking him questions. If you don't know him, Horde Desert is a Deepwoken lore developer. He's responsible for making outfits, writing a lot of the dialogue in the game, just a bunch of stuff, and it was amazing to finally talk to him. Excuse some of the audio parts, I had to cut out a bunch of copyrighted audio, so it might sound a bit spotty at sections, but it should be, audible at most parts. Yeah, and that's about it. If you're a Deepwoken developer watching this, feel free to come on the channel. Remember to subscribe, there's no one else who gets interviews like this, and yeah, enjoy.
I mean, they're all individual people. Like, they're all their own people. I'm not going to talk much about the prophets because that is lore that should be divulged in-game. But I have been...
There it is.
I'll let you know that I have been developing one prophet lately.
Oh, really?
I've been writing it's about a prophet.
Is it one that we know of, or like a completely new prophet?
No. But you will find out soon when I drop it in-game. That's the thing, like, I only work when I'm motivated. And that can be at very random moments in time. It's like, I will spend days kind of thinking of a concept, like I'll think about it ask about lore, yeah. Please don't ask me about code. Let's this can probably late. Like, I'll think about a concept for like 5 days long. Like 5 days of literal constant thinking about a concept. Like, this does not, what, I'm drinking a beer in your honor. Cheers. Cheers. No, let's have it. I'll think about it for ages. Like, I'll listen to music that inspires me, all that sort of procrastination stuff, rumination, I have to think about it. And then I'll write it. I'll start writing for like an hour, and then I'll get distracted. And then I'll come back to about 3 months later, and I'll finish it all. I kind of help out with everything on the other side, because a lot of devs will come to me, but like, hey, can you help me with this bit of lore? Like, I did a lot of authority stuff. I didn't do too much Valve Iron. I've been doing some Hive stuff in the background. I did a lot of stuff for Titus. I wrote a lot of Titus's, like the Titus, like the dialogue around that. I wrote the letter. I wrote Kitus. I wrote them. What else have I done? I did a lot of Carnival, world events. I do a lot of stuff in the background as well that no one sees. Like, a lot of the lore concept, we discuss lore, make concepts, like creatively work together. Like, I always weigh in on that, or usually weigh in on that. So it's kind of just a general spread, but my main areas of focus are Christians and Chiron, which I have the most knowledge of. So I'm willing to take questions on them, or like Tillian, any NPCs like that. Yeah, or I can kind of just, it's Titus the Crudian. No. So, more Chiron, more please. Yeah, I've explained earlier that Chirons are inspired of a Turkish archaeological site architecturally. It's something I said in my lectures, and I thought the way this society may have worked in the past is really fascinating, and I took a bit of time to basically just turn it into an underground complex. The Man in the Iron Mask is a massive inspiration for the Oracle, and that's all I'm going to say on that. So if you guys want to look into the Man in the Iron Mask, cool, enjoy, have a great time.
Wait, okay, but which the Man in the Iron Mask are we talking about here, though? Like, I'm a
historical one.
Yeah, okay, I was gonna say probably not the Leonardo DiCaprio movie.
What? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. The 17th century one.
Like the actual human being.
Yes, the Man in the Iron Mask.
Oh, that's so interesting.
So
how do you actually? Yeah. Did I ask a question? Like, how do you actually? So, for example, like, if you're trying to get inspiration from the Man in the Iron Mask, do you you're just looking over stuff and then you read the Man in the Iron Mask and you're like, oh, okay, wow. Or do you go back, like, retroactively and think about text like the Man in the Iron Mask and then draw inspiration from that? Like, what's your process necessarily?
It's a bit of a mix. Usually the start of it, like, the starting knowledge is always, like, stuff I already know, or just stuff I come across. Yeah, so usually how it works is I'll know something, or I watch something and I'm just like, wow, this is really cool, and I formulate an idea off it. And then, yeah, there is elements of me retroactively going back and adding stuff that I've learned again, or like learned more about. So recently I can say that the Renaissance... What's more culturally important? Single Ladies by Beyonce or the Renaissance? Sorry, I have a film in a clunk there. But, the Renaissance has been a
2 seconds. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, fuck you, man. So basically, regarding retroactive lore, I've been very into the Renaissance lately. as you can tell by my Botticelli layout on Discord, I've been researching about the Renaissance, and I thought, well, the architecture, the sort of culture movements are very Chrysid to me. So I was like, well, a lot of stuff for the Chrysid is just now going to be inspired by the Renaissance. So architecture, especially.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know there was a lot of architectural inspiration that went into it.
I'm gonna say what I've said in public before. I'm currently working on Hive Nobility. It is an ongoing thing, but Hive Nobility is very inspired of the royal courts of the 18th to 16th century of France and Italy.
Yeah.
For preface, no one knows this, but it is like my historical special interest that the courts of that period are my special interest. So, you guys are getting lovely bit of court dessert special on that. Ew, the French. Don't hit me up. The French courts in the 18th to 16th century were so interesting and such an underrated piece of history. Like the noble families, their dynamics, like their lineages, the sort of stuff that went on in the court is just so interesting, and it's so human.
There's a lot of things in the game where I get you like them, but the reason you like them is because they're kind of complete. Like they're self-sufficient. Oh, I'm about to get teleported.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely.
I have to say, like, when it comes to people asking for lore, I can only say one thing. Is that, like, to complete an entire area of lore takes a very long... I just dropped something, fuck my life. To complete an area of lore, it can take, like, months, years even. Like, Chrysids, I was opening the original Chrysid document file that I have for them, and I think I have the dates of when I started writing. If we look at Vow of Iron, for example, an example of this, there was, like, so many NPCs that had to be rewritten, and actually take most of them. Like, genuinely too much.
And even that was with like actual a lot of like reused NPCs as well. Like this is like old characters too. So just imagine you're adding new characters in all the time, and that would be like, oh my god,
You have to think of
it'd be horrible.
new dialogue. You have to think of new personalities for these characters. You have to think of new like lore. You have to account for everything. You have to make another NPC model for these characters. You have to implement them. You have to write their code and implement them.
Yeah, exactly.
If they're anything more just like a dialogue NPC, you have to code that as well.
Yeah.
You have to think about how it fits into the wider scheme of things. And when you get like 50 NPCs that need that work, you would genuinely want to die. So when it comes to like progressing lore in game, it's a little bit difficult. I try and as I add NPCs, unless I say otherwise, they're kind of just appearing into the world as they come. For example, I've talked about this publicly, but there is a vizier coming to Etris soon. There is an advisor coming to Etris soon.
I'm very excited.
He is coming.
I'm so excited.
And that will be when he arrives in lore. That will be like when he appears, because it makes it easier for me.
In lore, obviously, it's fair enough. If you see something like acting one way in game, it's fair enough to be like, okay, well, fair enough. This is probably how it is in the lore. But a lot of the times, the lore can differ very heavily from what you see in the game. So half the job is finding out, well, where does the lore differ? Does it differ? And how different is it? Etc. So
generally, yeah, it's just a lot of work. I literally just yeah, you got it right.
Yeah,
I
mean, it makes sense.
It's very easy to take everything at face value when you see something in the game, but bear in mind that it's also a game and not just a book or a video, and it's also not a linear storytelling experience. To be honest, a lot of my lore is already interconnected. Like I kind of, when making it, I try and keep in mind all the other factors that are part of it. It's like I've described this before, but like a lot of my lore is like one big cake. So different NPCs, different books, they are all different slices of a bigger cake. They're not making the same thing. Like everything represents itself. The thing is, like with the Ministry, I really struggle with writing for the Ministry because logistically players would not know, or like the player character would not know of the existence of the Ministry. They're a shady organization, which means that then like communicating information in a way that is realistic is really difficult. Because if it's just shoehorned in, it just makes no sense. It sounds really jarring. So I've been writing some NPCs lately, and it very much relies on the player being a contractor or involved in the Ministry in some sort of way. Because otherwise, where is the player character going to know or like get any information about this Ministry thing? Like if you were a random dude and someone was like, "Hey, have you heard about this Ministry?" You're gonna be like, "What the hell is that?" Like, who cares?
Well, it also doesn't make sense if you go to like talk to somebody and like this random guy's like, "Okay, well, since you asked so nicely and you're just like a random guy, like a random pathfinder I met in Etris, I'll tell you all about the Ministry structure and everybody." Like, it doesn't really make any sense. I don't think the only way I would see it happening is like I steal the book from the shelf and it has like all the classified information on it. But at the same time, it's kind of like
I used
some.
that's such a overused.
Yeah, it's pretty cliche to be honest with you.
I do it a lot because it is sometimes the only way to get information out in a form. It's literally like, Alex, I need this. It gets really difficult. And the other issue is, it's like, even when you're a contractor, why would someone say, like, the advisor of Law Region, even tell you about anything?
Yeah, I don't think
Like,
we will.
why would they do that? Because in the end, you're below them. You are never going to be equal footing to this character. You're never going to be an equal footing to the region. He's not going to tell you about the inner workings of the industry. And that's where a law block comes in, is because, like, you wouldn't. I think there's nothing wrong. Personally, this is not representative of every other dev, but for me, there is nothing wrong with keeping stuff mysterious if a player wouldn't be able to know about it. Because in the end, you don't need to know about everything, and I think that makes it part of the world. Not everything needs to be given on a silver platter. Sometimes you can use your imagination, and sometimes it's best to use your imagination, because you would be using that. If you're a contractor, and you've been brought into these kind of servitude of Law Region, you'd be definitely filling your mind with all these strange thoughts and theories and concepts about the ministry, about the shady organization you now work for.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's nothing wrong with, but a lot of the stuff I've come up with kind of mitigate it in the sense that there are two ministry NPCs I'm writing right now.
Okay.
That is the advisor, and that is another character called Tamiro. Tamiro is going to be the ministry grunt, who is going to tell you some bits, and that's what I'll say about Tamiro.
Okay.
Tamiro's pretty cool though.
That's
I have them kind of written. They're like, they're out there. They're not in game, but they're like, they might be ready soon. I hope. That's my January. My January aim is to kind of try and tidy up a lot of the lore I have unfinished, because it can be kind of frustrating when I've been like summoned to work on other lore and I'm going, well, I've kind of got a lot of stuff in the backlog here that I haven't finished, and people want me to finish, and I want to finish.
Realistically, like, there's limits on it. It is what it is. I honestly don't really mind. I would personally just like a more, I don't know, well thought out character to represent Summer Company.
Don't worry, eventually there'll be more, because I do want to eventually tap on Summer Company. Like, eventually I do want to write some stuff for it, because it is kind of bothering me how there's a bit of a gap of information there. Like, as much as I don't know, I just don't think, because of the fact that there's not a lot of lore in the Summer Company that's publicly known, I just was never that interested in it, because bear in mind that, to people who don't know, I was a regular player before I became a dev. Like, I wasn't really pulled in for a game. I was originally an artist, and I don't know, I also I got pulled onto the devs team originally to do outfits, because I was recommended with some designs I did, and then I wasn't even meant to become like an actual dev. This is Hort Desert lore, guys. This is my original story. I wasn't even meant to do dev work. Like, I was originally just a commissioned person, like contracted contributor, right?
Really?
I was gonna make some outfits for a bit, and then like, I don't know. I think I was gonna make outfits of Conquest. That was the original idea, and I wasn't really meant to stay on the team. I didn't have access to the team stuff, right? And then one day I got access to it, and I was part of the dev team, and I asked eventually if I could do like lore work. I was like, Archmage, hey, I want to write. Like, I have ideas. And he was like, yeah, cool. And that was the start. I picked up from a field trio instantly. So I picked up Chris Hids, and that was what I started with. And that's how I basically got on the team.
That's awesome.
So, but like that's like, before that, I was mostly interested in the lore as a player. I did not play the game much. Like, I had like my original characters, which I still do kind of have. I did the artwork. And I was really into Hive as a faction. I was really into like Ministry.
Right.
Contractor. Yeah.
Contractor, yeah.
What's really funny?
This guy takes so much heat, more than any developer. I feel like people like do things and it gets attributed to Agamatsu automatically because he's a dev. I've never seen someone's fans hate him so much in my entire life. Every time he starts up a stream, it's like, Agamatsu, I hate you. Agamatsu must die to progress society. I'm like, oh, okay. Poor guy.
I'm gonna
really
like say this here, is that this is a general, I don't know, like, I don't really like saying this sort of stuff very publicly, because I don't want to cause dissent, but please remember that developers are real people,
Yes.
and we have lives, and we are like humans, and we have limits of our ability, and we have the capacity to make mistakes, and also, like not maybe do the things the best that we can do, and like we aren't people behind a screen on a Roblox or just like a Roblox account in a studio. Like we are actual people, and as much as you are angry, I understand finding a game frustrating, but please remember that what you're saying online can impact people in a real can impact real people. And if you would like to put yourselves in their shoes and realize that you may not appreciate having people all over the internet, like basically saying stuff like, "Oh, I think we should kill Agamatsu," or like, we should kill Hot Desert, we should kill Night Guinness. It's not very nice, and I think you need to kind of like understand that.
Yeah.
That's the one time I'm gonna say this, because I see it a lot at different devs. Not like I'm not speaking for the devs, like other devs and how they feel about that. I'm just saying that like in my perspective of it, it can be quite
It's just like
strange.
It's a common decency thing. It's all. And I feel like it's very easy to associate, the title of developer for real people, because a lot of the time you don't have contact with these people, but this is a real thing. So, I'll put that in the video that I make.
Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with like being frustrated with things, because in the end, like, criticism is important and it helps the game go forwards. But I think there's ways you could talk about criticism without being really angry at people and being rude to people. And I think the Deepwoken community suffers from that a little bit. This is not my like dev commentary about the Deepwoken community. I do appreciate a lot of the community. I just think it's kind of disappointing to see people acting in such a way.
Updates that come to the game, but imagine like, okay, the way I see it is, imagine if you're a developer and you've had a really shit day and you just log in and there's like 50 people telling you to kill yourself, because you've like, it does a lot of the time, like me personally, that wouldn't really affect me, but if I was having a bad day, I would be lying if I said it wouldn't at least get to me a little bit. So especially for other people, but obviously
you're like, no, I'm not going to speak for how the other devs respond to it, because everyone responds to it in their own way, and I'm not the other devs, and I'm not going to talk about their reactions. But like for me, I could not deal with that. Like luckily I'm not getting hate that much, but it's not pleasant. Who's writing Law of Divergences? Anyone really. I think we're all going to help out on that. I was suggesting some stuff for Divergences.
Oh, Divergences.
Streaming.
I'm excited.
I don't do game design. Well, I mean, game design is in I'm not. There's no like official person. Like I sometimes give suggestions and feedback, but then again, I am not an actual like content developer. I don't have the same grasp as actual content developers on the game, so I try and keep back from talking too much about mechanics and stuff like that, because I don't really have any frame of reference here. Like I'm kind of just the ideas guy on that sort of behalf. Here's the real cool question: how are you? I'm good, thank you.
Oh, that's awesome.
I hope you had a good. I had a good Christmas. I hope you guys had a good Christmas.
Are we gonna get more information about the ministry hierarchy below the prophets?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
That's awesome.
I hope to expand on that.
I think the way I feel about the updates recently, I've spoken to Rag about this, so I'm sure he's gonna take it to heart. But my personal favorites have been the authority update and stuff like that. I just like the new direction we're heading in, where it's like everything feels a little more diegetic. And obviously I'm like the main guy where it's like, if it's said on Discord, I kind of don't like it. But if it's not able to be said like realistically in like a decent time frame, like diegetically, then I really don't care. Like as long as if some things are expressed through Discord and stuff like that, like I'd rather find out myself. But also at the same time, it's like it's cool to get those kind of the novelty hasn't really worn off for me of getting those like instant lore drops. But I really won't mind as long as in the game there's actually like diegetic storytelling and things like that, which we have got with Authority, with Vow of Iron, which I've been very pleasantly surprised by. My personal issue with it, when a lot of that was mounting, was when the team was kind of suffering from like a lack of direction, as far as I know, as for from what Rags told me, and there wasn't like a constructive effort to kind of make that whole diegetic storytelling process happen. And that's when now I have more of an issue with it personally. But
it definitely takes a lot of cohesion for that sort of thing. Like I'm not going to talk about anything related to the team, because it's very much like a Ragusa thing to talk about, but Yeah, I really do enjoy like the standard that Authority Origin has set for lore and storytelling because again, the game, like as people said in the chat, like it is immersive. You feel like part of the world, and in the end, I think that's what Deepwoken is. One of the greatest strengths of Deepwoken is that it has such a rich world and such a rich story, and it's so unique in that regard. And it needs to be tapped into more. Like the player experience needs to accommodate the lore more because you are in this massive, like detailed, incredibly detailed world with so many stories that can be told, and it would be, even if it's like a roleplay aspect, right? That is still totally cool.
And I even told Rag, I was
needs
like,
more.
you have a generational lore team. Could you like please like make sure to use them properly? And the way I see it is like, people always say, or as the common sentiment in the community is like, well, lore should come like after, gameplay and stuff like that. And while I do agree that, yeah, I'd probably say it's like baseline, maybe less important than the game actually functioning well. When it comes to stuff like lore updates, I feel like there's like a whole web of people that don't actually know that they'd enjoy it just yet. And I feel like that's where I'm grateful to have played some influence in actually communicating the lore to some people, because I feel like the Chrysid, obviously I don't want to take credit for it because people would have found it themselves, but it makes me very sad that without a video like that, a lot of people would just have no idea that Chrysid storyline even existed, like at all. But now that that's like a thing and I communicate that to people, that brings me personally a lot of joy because I really adore the storytelling in this game and how you guys do it. Like, sorry to glaze for a second, but I feel like all of you are really talented, and I feel like the lore has like a massive fan base. It's just like sitting there and they don't actually know that they're fans of it just yet, and now they're waking up to it recently.
Yeah, I feel like compared to other games on the platform, if you look at games like Pressure, games like I don't know, other like Google Activator, they have a great and massive community around the characters and the story. And it's like I've seen like fan art of Pressure characters outside of the game, like people who don't even know the game Pressure or like aren't interested in it.
Yeah, exactly.
But like Deepwoken really doesn't have that, and that's what's, so it has a small amount of people like that. Because I see Twitter, I see posts about characters on Twitter, but it doesn't have a fandom aspect. And I feel like that's partly because number one, the game's paid access. Number two is the Deepwoken has a reputation for being a combat progression game, and like you said, the lore isn't actually that easy to access if you're not tapped in.
Yeah.
Or it's just like you don't realize it. Because I've had people be like, I've like said stuff in Discord and people have been like, well, can this be in game? And I was like, well, yes, it is in game. I'm literally just summarizing the work I've put in, which is fine because not everyone's gonna have time to like dig through stories. And so I'm grateful to you for making videos because it like communicates stuff. I do kind of privately hope that Deepwoken gets more of like a fandom. It's good, I think, to have sort of like a big collection of information about the lore in one place, because yeah, as you said, it's just so complicated and it's just impossible to access, especially like years later than all the old Argamatsu lore videos and all the old lore videos people made back then. It's good to have a bit of an update on that, and I can only hope it gets more people into like the story aspect, because I only really see also fans of characters, right?
Yes.
I only really see fans of the iconic characters. I'm not saying that we are entitled to have fans of different characters, or we are entitled to have fans of anything, really, because in the end, people grace us with their attention out of their own desire. But I'd love to see more attention on the minor characters of this game, because there's so many like NPCs out there which have such interesting character stories, who are more detailed than the main characters, and I think it'd be cool to see people like get into the game and like, I don't know, not like get attached to characters, but like just like look further than, you know, Regent, Duke.
Yeah, I definitely
Ferryman.
It makes sense because obviously the large, the really popular characters will develop like a massive, cult fan base and things like that. But I would also appreciate, I might make another video on that, like niche characters you need to get behind and support and stuff like that. So
right, like top 10
most niche Deepwoken characters. Speed, I need this.
Do like an NPC tier list of whether you like them or not, and do like a summary about them.
Yeah. Thank you very much, of course. Horde Desert Percy, thank you for being on the stream. I appreciate it very much.
I hate you so much. I hate
Okay.
everything.
I'll just go die, I guess. I'll go die.
Yes,
Yep.
you should.
Okay.
I'm really ungrateful for this experience, and I